Welcome to Let's Ride Podcast here live at the PBR SBC studio, podcast studio here in Pueblo, Colorado. I'm very excited for our first in-studio guest, defensive end Morgan Fox, CSU Pueblo alumnus, and coming off his fourth sack last week on Thursday Night Football. What's good with you, Morgan?
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Tell me a little bit about how your season has gone so far, because it's been a little weird with COVID and all these things going on. You guys started with Hard Knocks here in the beginning of the season with the LA Chargers, and being able to overcome those obstacles, staying healthy, and still having a progressive season.
It's definitely been different. We have a couple more things we have to do every day, to make sure we keep our environment and our bubble clean and safe. Certain things you can't do anymore when you're on the road and out and about, even at home. But it's been different. But I'm just grateful to have a season and be able to be working and doing what we're doing.
And you think some of the things that they're doing, is there like an evolution right before our eyes, and how the NFL, its inner workings, and how you practice, how you use virtual training? Do you think this is something that is going to continue and it's helped, or it still has its amount of hindrance trying to prepare for the next team?
I think actually there's some really cool things you can take from what's been going on with COVID, as far as things you can do as a team to keep guys healthier and meet. There's a lot of things I actually did like that we did, and sometimes it's hard with virtual meetings. Virtual meetings are a lot harder to pay attention in versus being in person in a room with the guys. You're sitting at home on a screen. It's a little more difficult to stay as locked in as you would be.
No, I understand. So listen, I had a little story. Back in 2007, we had a huge snowstorm here in Denver, Colorado. I was with the Broncos at the time, and I remember that they had to go get Ian Gold and Elvis Dumerville, and they used a Caterpillar to go get them to get to practice. And at that moment, I understood how big of a deal the NFL was, how it was a business, and how we had to be able to get to work. In this situation, sometimes you change stadiums, you change practice schedules, but it's always that kind of next man up mentality. You don't really deal with the adversity, you just make it happen. And how has that helped you in being a professional? How has that helped you attack your position and attack what you can do to be the best you can, and not let the outside things kind of be a part of your everyday preparation?
Well, you realize you can't control about 90% of the stuff that's going on right now, so the best thing you can do is stay locked in to help your team and help your teammates. It does help you honestly focus a little bit more, because you're sitting at home, you're not doing everything else, you're not worrying about all this stuff. All you can control is who you're playing next week, how you're going to perform, and how you're going to help the team.
I love it, man. So listen, I want to get this out of the way, because we're going to show a little clip as we put the edit through on this. Tom Brady, sack or no sack? And we're going to put this thing in slow mo. And do you think you got hosed by the Golden Boy because he was the Golden Boy? Because when I watched it, I did not see that ball come forward. What are your thoughts? I actually know what they are, but I want to hear it.
Man, I feel like I got it out. Obviously, it didn't shake out that way. So I mean, it's not a sack, but at least in my heart, it was a sack.
So you in your mind, are you like, man, I need you to play 2 or 3 more years. I got to get you again. Was that something on kind of like your football bucket list?
Oh yeah, 100%. You always want to be able to get after the greats, and to be able to get after the greatest to do it was a great opportunity and a blessing, and hopefully there's more opportunities where that came from.
So you listen, you guys are sitting right now at 9-4. LA Rams. You've landed on a great organization. You're in your fifth year. You're playing with the likes of Aaron Donald, Brockers, an elite defensive line, an elite team, and a great organization. Is that something to where you feel it's surreal at this particular moment, or are you? And this is something you've given to me. Kind of be where your feet are, which something I took that you told me a while back. Is that something that is surreal to you, or you understand everything that's going on, and the level at which you're performing and who you're performing with?
I think it's a combination of both. I think being where your feet are helps you appreciate where you are as well. You can definitely look around and remember, hey, I'm in the league. This this is still a dream at the end of the day, even with everything going on and being as locked in as we are and you know, just focusing on making ourselves better and getting ready for the next week. It still definitely helps, you know, having teammates like some of the guys you named be able to sit there and go, hey man, like, don't forget we're in the NFL. Like this is still a blessing. Don't take this for granted.
And I definitely don't want to take anything from you, but I want to speak on Aaron Donald just a little bit because, in my opinion, he's the best defensive player in the league and has been for the last 2 or 3 years. I feel like sometimes everybody who watches football and aspires to be at the highest level, you say like, man, I want to be like that guy. I want you to give us a little insight because I know, and anybody who's watching, it's impossible to be that guy. And I want to know if there's some things that you try to take from him, or in the middle of a rep, you're like, nah, that's just Aaron Donald.
No, so I mean, I'm with you. You know, he's the greatest football player I've ever seen. You know, hands down. I'll stand on that hill and die on that hill. There's definitely things that he does that are specific to him that just he knows how to do. You know, it's one of those things where you ask him like, "Hey, bro, how'd you do that?" And he's like, "Honestly, I don't know." Yeah, he things that he just does. But on the flip side of that, what's amazing about him and awesome about him is he is the caliber of player he is, but he's always willing to help and impart his knowledge. So there's a lot of things from his game that I've tried to mold, that things that I couldn't do, you know, and ask him. I've probably annoyed him with how many questions I've asked him on, hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? You know, how can I do this better? You know, and a lot of times when I'm watching myself on film, I end up watching him, you know, and almost watching him or Brock just as much as I'm watching myself, you know, because I'm trying to take the pieces, you know, the great pieces from them and see what I can almost mold some kind, like myself, into some kind of Frankenstein out of the great things that they do that I know I can do. But there are definitely some things that he does that
no one,
are
no
specific
one.
to 99.
No, I feel it. That'll definitely segue into kind of my next little deal here. And this goes back a little bit about your journey. I remember you at CSU Pueblo, and I want to say your junior year, you might have had somewhere, I want to say double digits. Was it 10, 11?
12 and a half.
12. My bad, bro. And then your senior year, you had 17 and a half, but you missed what, 3 games or 4 games?
3 games.
3 games. So being able to watch you, you know, at that level, and then going into your 5th year, being with the Rams, the thing that I seen from you first was that attention to detail. Like, you definitely had the high character, you definitely had the hard work ethic, but there was something where you were always willing to learn. You never were so good, even though you were elite in the RMAC, elite in the country at the level that you were at, but you always put yourself in a position to be able to succeed and never let your, and we all have an ego. You know this in football, you have to, but
Oh yeah.
you never let your ego be above where you were at, and you allowed yourself to just continue to take in knowledge. And that was the special part about you. And from day one, I'm like, bro, you're going to be a 10-year vet. There's no doubt in my mind, because that's what the NFL is. It's about professionalism, attention to detail, willing to learn, willing to be able to critique yourself. And I want to segue kind of into this next little question here. We're starting our NFL draft prep January 1st. This will be our 2nd year with the PBR SPC, and we're looking to get maybe 6 to 8 guys. And is there something that you can kind of, a word of advice for people trying to matriculate to that next level on how to be consistent within that professionalism, be consistent within that attention to detail, and continue to ask questions? Because sometimes you've seen it, you've been there and you've seen it. A lot of rookies come in and they're wide-eyed, and they don't know. They see that Aaron Donald and like, oh man, Aaron. Like, no, you better be asking questions. You better be watching every rep that he's doing. You better be watching every rep that the backup is doing, and you better be able to understand the whole entire scheme. So is there something that you can, a word of advice that you can kind of pass on to that next person that honestly is trying to come and get your job?
So what I would do is tell guys, just focus on the little things, you know, coming in. There's a lot of stuff going on, and if you try to fix too much and try to solve the big picture when you jump in, it's not going to work out like you think it is. You know, you have a lot more time than you realize, and I think the biggest thing I've seen over my time in the league is guys coming in and trying to fix everything they're getting corrected on in one day, because, you know, like you said, it's an ego thing. They want to be the best tomorrow. They don't understand the process takes a while, and so focusing on the little things consistently really does help you subconsciously develop the big picture. You know, the big picture at the end of the day is going to come into focus and you won't even know it. But as long as you're consistently fixing the little things every day, you're going to get better. You're going to improve 1% better. I mean, I tell people all the time, like if your ego is involved, you're not going to get better because you're going to really, some coaches are going to hurt your feelings.
Facts.
And it's not out of a place of anger. They think you're a bad person. It's just how they know how to coach. And if you learn to see the forest through the trees and find out, okay, this is what he's really trying to say to help make me better, you can really take what people are trying to say and add it to your game. I tell people all the time, like if you would see my notes, you would think I hate myself with how hypercritical I am when I write my notes down
Oh, I
on how I
remember.
can get better. Like if you could just sit through my notebook, you would be like, this dude needs to go see someone. But it's all about, hey, this is what I saw today. I need to get better at this tomorrow. It's one thing, and it might be a little thing. It might be something as little as, hey, don't twist your foot when you come out of the stands. But you don't twist your foot, and then you watch a sack where it's just your hand getting in there and getting on the ball right before he throws and it coming out. You know, that's the difference between a sack and a pass breakup. And it's fixing those little things so that when it comes to the point for you to perform, it's automatic. And then you don't have to be coached. You know, instead of being critiqued, it's being praised, all because you focused on the little things and took your ego out of it.
And that's something that for anybody listening, that's life. That's not just football. That's anything at an elite level. That's anything at the highest profession. You know, a lot of people in this day and age, they want something tomorrow, and they don't want to look at the process. They compare themselves to others instead of staying in their lane and doing the best that they can do, believing in themselves and having that confidence and how you can perform. And like you said, those little small things and those little details. I want to go back a little bit to your rookie year just to kind of attest to what you're saying. Had my guy a D tackle.
I was everything.
I know you
I
want
was
to say
Swiss
you were.
Army knife.
I want to say you were 265, but you were 258 at best.
For the first 3 weeks, and they got my ass up to 285.
Playing defensive tackle at three technique in the NFL. How was that transition? How was that transition, and what are the things that you had to be able to take on that just were you never played D tackle in your life? You were
No,
a sack machine. You know what I mean? So how was that transition? Because I think that can attest to what you're saying. Because everybody wants everything to be perfect. Everybody wants that success to be laid out for you, spoon fed to you. But sometimes you get it just how you get it, and you got to do what you got to do to achieve it. Tell me a little bit about that.
so it was crazy.
Wait. Last thing, and you did your thing. I was nervous. I'm like, man, Foxy's a sack guy. He about to get lit up inside. You did your thing, by the way. But go ahead.
It was definitely difficult, you know, coming in, and I'll be the first one to admit it because first off, I'm coming to a team that at the time had one of the best top 5 D lines in football. You know, AD was in his like 3rd or 4th year. We had Rob Quinn, we had Brock, we had Quentin Coples, Dom Easley, we had Will Hayes, we had Gene. We had nothing but we had guys who had played or were first rounders. That was it.
You were not supposed to make it.
Yeah, 100%. And I got in there, and I do have to attest to the great I mean, we had Coach Woff at the time, and he really went out of his way to help, you know, a small school guy like myself and kind of help develop me and instill confidence in me that, hey, you can do this, and this is how you're going to do it. And he got me through that, you know, pretty well, help with new techniques and got my head and my mind right for when I, you know, had to go out and perform. And the other thing was first day at OTAs, a bunch of guys like, hey, we're not practicing, or went down. So then I came in thinking I was going to play D tackle, and now I'm playing DN the first day of OTAs, full speed. No idea, you know, didn't even look. Luckily, I'd looked over all the end and the D tackle stuff, so I could play it well, and I had a good day. But it was really just going out there and doing it, and like you said, taking 1% at a time because it was a position I was completely foreign to me. I wasn't used to playing inside. I wasn't used to how fast things happen inside.
Sideways, you're getting hit sideways now.
Yeah, you're getting hit by a guard, you're getting hit by a tackle, you're getting hit by a center, and pass rushing happens faster. And it was all different. But eventually, you know, I just became confident in it between great coaching and having good teammates that were willing to help and willing to tell you when you did something well. You know, people don't appreciate that enough in the league, that a lot of guys, you know, like you said, guys are coming in to take your job. And veterans definitely don't have to tell you when you're doing well. They don't have to tell you that was a good rep or have to help you. they could let you sink or swim
Sink or swim.
and figure it out. But I'm that's your problem. But I was very fortunate to have a great group of vets that when we would play well, we were playing well. They would let us know, hey, you did awesome there. Hey, this is how you can fix that. They never made us feel like, we don't want you here.
100%, 100%. And for me to be able to watch you just acclimate yourself to that level in a very uncommon position, it was a great sight to see. And I tell all my athletes and even the people who work for me, it's human nature to want a sure thing. But the truth and the reality of the matter is the best in life you're going to get is an opportunity. And a lot of people just don't want to, if that opportunity don't look the way that they think it is in their mind, then they get all foggy about it and let that opportunity pass them by. And so when I was able to see that and see you excel at that, it was a great sight to see. So let's get a little current. You're coming off your fourth sack against the New England Patriots, Thursday Night Football. We got the. I think it's five. I think it's five because I do think you got Brady. We're coming in next week. You got the New York Jets. I won't put this on you, but it's a dumpster fire down there. Let's just call it what it is. But it's. What are we looking for? Because I feel like we got 2 or 3 more sacks left in the bag. There's 3 games left. And you hit that 6-7 mark, now we're going Sizzler. Now we're making moves. What are your thoughts on this next week's challenge? And I know you're going to be professional with it, but at the end of the day, it's a production-based business, and wins and production is how you continue to be successful in the league. So, what do you see for yourself in the next 3 games you got left? You got Jets, Seahawks, Cardinals, 2 division games, and then you got these New York Jets. And any given Sunday, anything can happen because they're all NFL teams. So, what are your thoughts on that?
It's really just focusing on getting through the next week. We have 3 tough weeks of football ahead of us before we can even start thinking about anything else. And it's really trying to improve on things every week from the previous week. So, I think it's going to be a good challenge coming into a team that is, has a lot of talent on it. And like you said, it's any given Sunday. You never know. You go out there against a team you think you're going to beat and you get whooped.
Yeah.
Get whooped bad. So you definitely can't take them lightly. And at the end of the day, like you said, it's a production-based business, and the best production you can have is to win. That's how you keep your job. So at the end of the day, I'm really just hoping to go out and get 3 wins, and whatever stats fall in there, they fall in there.
Hey, Foxy, I want to ask this question. I know you have this sack hunger, but when you get to the league, you need it all. You need batted balls, you need pressures, you need tackles, you need assisted tackles. Has that mentality changed a little bit? Because I know when you were in college, you wanted sacks. So, yeah. So now that you got all these things in your head that are equivalent to production in the league, and then being able to have your PFF and the reps that you have and being able to be as productive as you possibly can, has that mindset changed, or are you still in your mind sack hungry?
Well, everyone's sack hungry.
Yeah.
Sacks are cool.
Yeah.
You end up on TV for sacks, but you really look at it, it's a production-based business at the end of the day, and you figure out, how do I get around the ball? And unfortunately, guys who do one thing well are a dime a dozen. And, you look at the guys who just pass rush, they can find a guy who can just pass rush every year. It's very hard or a lot harder to find a guy who can pass rush, but can also play the run very solid and also understands the game and understands, like, hey, I don't need a sack, but if I can affect the quarterback here, or, hey, I might be a great sack player, but I understand it's 2nd and long and there's a screen coming, because I'm not so sack hungry that I forget that I'm still playing 4 downs. So you always want sacks. Sacks are pretty, but at the end of the day, you just want to affect the ball in any way you can, whether that's making tackles, TFLs, making quarterbacks throw bad passes, getting your hands up in the passing lane. Any way that you can affect the ball now is production, and that's really what you want. Even if you're not affecting the ball, but you're setting the edge strong, because it is the ultimate team game, an 11-person game, and one guy doesn't set the edge, you get gashed for 25 yards on the edge. You're out of there. You can be the best pass rusher in the world. You're not going to be in there on 1st and 2nd down, which is a loss of money, loss of production.
So listen, man. This is a cool gig for me, being an executive director here at the PBR Sport Performance Center, the first ever facility that with an emphasis on Western sports athletes. It allows me to train bull riding. It allows me to do NFL draft prep and train all other types of athletes. We're launching our app in 2021. But as someone who's coming from a traditional sport, you were able to experience the PBR and experience an event last year at the Staples Center. Tell us a little bit about your experience and what you thought.
It was awesome. I grown up around rodeos and been around rodeos with my family doing it, my whole life, but I've never been to like a strictly bull riding event. And then to go in there and it be at the level of production it was, and to see honestly how many fans were there was crazy to me, and then being able to be in the pens and meeting these athletes and hanging out and talking with them for a little bit, it was definitely cool to see these guys, they're all crazy. And then
100%.
to see these guys and how excited they were to go out and battle these bulls for 8 seconds and then, just act like it was normal, and you really get an appreciation for the kind of athletes they are and really how good of a job the PBR does on putting on that event and that show. I mean, I had an absolute blast.
Love it, bro. Love it. It was a joy to have you there and introduce you to Western sports and what it looked like, and to be able to be a part of that production and meet some of the bull riders and athletes and see the athleticism. So it was definitely a joy and a blast to have you there. You met a few people, met a few actors. I know we're in L.A., but you're probably used to it. What did you think about Naja Knight? Do you?
Oh, she was awesome. It's crazy to think that someone, at that age is, really that confident and that brave. Because even with what I do, hitting supreme athletes, every game, getting them basically a fight for 60 minutes, there's no way you could ever catch me on a bull. Absolutely no way. So she gets all my respect and all the props from me in the world, because there's absolutely no way I could do what she does.
We're gonna get you out of here on this. You had My Cause cleats, the Sky Blues, Nikes, War Heroes on Water. Tell us a little bit about that cause. You have a military background, military family, Fountain Fort Carson here in Colorado Springs. Tell us a little bit about what that cause is and your involvement.
So War Heroes on Water, it's an organization that puts on a huge once in a lifetime fishing tournament for vets every year. Bunch of guys out here, big sport fishing boats, yachts, get, dedicate their time and their basically their hobby, or their lifestyle to letting these vets come out and bringing them together so they have a team again, and they're working towards a team oriented task of battling a fish together and forming bonds that they can fall back on, if something goes wrong or they need somebody to talk to or to reach out to for help. It also is an organization that's raised over, millions of dollars to help veterans. Every year I try to do a cause that helps with vets. Like you said, vets are near and dear to my heart. Growing up in a military family, I got family members that, aren't blood that check on me every week that were soldiers with my dad, so it's near and dear to my heart. And it was really a blessing to be able to give back to guys who have really given it all to make sure we can do what we do.
Love it. Always got to be able to give back. Definitely blessed to be able to be in a very top percent in the world, to be able to do what you do and to be able to give back. It's very admirable, and to be able to give back to something that's near and dear to your heart, the military, and how you grew up, it's extremely, again, admirable. Next, you're building your brand. Like I said, you're in your 5th year. Morganfox.com. I went to the site. You have apparel. You're doing camps, and I understand with COVID and everything going on, weren't able to do the events and camps like you wanted to. But can you tell us a little bit about Morganfox.com?
So it's really just a branding thing. Like you said, with camps, I want to be able to have an easily recognizable logo that people can see that and be like, hey, that's, Morgan Fox is putting on that camp. Or, if it's on a flyer or something with an event, doing something with vets or doing something in the community, people can be like, hey, no more, Morgan Fox and his organization, helped with this, or they hopped on it. And so when people want to think of someone to help or be a part of it, that logo is something that easily sticks in your head. So that's really the core behind it. And then I had a bunch of people be like, "Hey, that logo looks sweet on a shirt. If you make a shirt, I'd buy it from you." So I hit up my guy, and now I'm getting orders for shirts and hoodies, and it just happens to work out.
So that leads me to my last question of this podcast. So when am I gonna get my swag, bro?
Hey, it's in the mail.
I,
It is in the mail.
I'm like, I see everybody posting. They got their Morgan Fox swag. I'm like, man, I can't get a T-shirt. I can't get a hoodie.
You
Something.
got a t-shirt. You got a t-shirt and a hoodie on the way. Don't worry.
I look forward to it, my friend. I look forward to it. Well, listen, man.
I'll send it right to the facility.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, man. I really appreciate your time. And again, I don't want to make it awkward, but I'm always proud of you, bro. And I'm always, you're definitely the professionals pro, and just who you've become in the league, who you've become as a man, who you've become as a person. You're someone that other people can look up to and model their character after, and just the effort in which you approach your profession. It just I'm very humbled to even be a part of your journey, and I definitely needed you for our first in studio podcast for those reasons. And I look forward to seeing you the rest of the season, getting 2 to 3 more sacks, going into the playoffs, getting another sack, and then getting to that big bag. So enjoy your day off, and I look forward to seeing you or talking to you here soon.
I appreciate you having me. It's always a blast, to sit and talk with you. So hope y'all have a good one, and can't wait to do it again.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the Let's Ride podcast. We had a very exciting guest with defensive end from the LA Rams, Morgan Fox. We have many more exciting guests to be a part of our podcast, and I look forward to the future, so stay tuned.